Yeah, give it a sec for me to catch up on it. I'm also typing this out.
All right,
Okay, let me see here.
we're good.
All right, yep, we're good. Good evening and welcome everyone to the 13th Mew Podcast Briefing Room, episode 21, A Day in the Field. I'm Captain Takeda Hideyoshi, the company commander and Apollo platoon leader.
I am Captain Dubs, the commanding officer of Tuma.
I'm First Lieutenant Soccer, XO of Tumal.
I am I am Ensign White. I am in charge of EMC.
I'm Staff Sergeant Yogi, Army's actual and the senior enlisted advisor.
I'm Staff Sergeant Ace, Demon Squad Leader, and Admin Enlisted Advisor.
I'm Lance Chang, Havoc VC.
Alrighty, welcome to our guest tonight, Lance Corporal Chang. How you doing, Chang?
Good, I'm doing great. No work today, late start tomorrow.
Hell yeah, good to see it. Good to see it. Did you get off on Monday as well, or how'd
I
that
got
go?
96. Yeah, just came off of 96.
That's fucking awesome. All right. We'll go ahead and get into the general news and updates just for the unit here. Just so everybody's tracking, we got requals are starting up as of this year. If you got qualified anytime in 2024 of December up until now, you obviously don't need to be requalified in it. But if you got qualified in November of 24, you need to be requalified. So EOD, marksman, if you're instructors for BCT, SOI, everyone needs to get their requals. It's just a yearly thing that we do. Those will be mandated come April and May. So you can get them done early. You can get them done now. Just make sure you get them done. Additional info, OCS, it's coming pretty well. Candidates, Corporals, Marcuzzi, and Cunningham doing pretty good job. They're coming up on their final tests now. So we'll be seeing some new fresh blood in the senior leadership here. Additional announcements being recruitment. You need to get recruitment up. The infantry is the backbone of the unit. Every other element is a important asset, but a support asset to the infantry, be it TUMA, mechanized, EMC. We need to get more infantry cats. So if y'all out there have friends or fellow Milsim buddies that you know from the past that you think would work out really well here, show them up, get them in the infantry, do what you got to do, grow it out. Got a new corpsman training dock up and running thanks to Ensign White, and I do believe HM2 Keeper and Napo Vanek prior to Keeper's retirement. They redid their overall dock training. Havoc and Tumont will be mandated for the requal period in February, just so that there's not this massive bunch up in requals come April. So if you're Tumont Havoc, you're gonna have your corpsman stuff in February, so be ready next month. Tuma also is closed, so as of the moment, no more people for the air wing. And S8, again, we took a significant hit, about 40% of our earnings between November and December just due to holidays. So we're just reaching out to try to get people interested back into donating to the unit's Patreon, which we'll link below probably after the video's been done and posted. With that being said, let's go ahead and pass this on over to Lance Corporal Chang. Chang, do you have any starting questions, concerns, critiques that you have about the command staff here?
Oh, yes, in fact, I do. So, kind of going off the top of my list here. Just a quick question, maybe regarding Zeus, maybe a critique as well, kind of something between the middle. So, I've been asking about like maybe having more advanced ops. So, typically during the ops I've been through, we're attacking a very static defense where it's very flat, linear defense, not really a defense in depth. And I was curious to see if you guys, if that's possible to do, having a more like defensive defense in depth, since we are like fighting a near peer threat. So what are the general? What's the general consensus on what that is?
Yeah, so the general consensus when it comes to Zeusing, a lot of the time, there's a lot of different factors, right? So as Zeus's, we need to make sure that we're relegated to following along a somewhat aligned story. So like, we want to make sure that the players are guided in some way. Now, obviously, what the players do in the ops, whoever it may be, if y'all fuck up, that applies to the story, and then we as Zeus's have to change the story. So we're kind of like the directors of it all, right? So you have that to look at. Then the second aspect of it is, we also need to understand that the Arma 3 AI is very limited in their actual capabilities and being able to do certain things. Yeah, the Zeuses can take control of things at times, but it's really hard to get that like defense in depth feel when you can only, when at most there's 2 Zeuses on per Saturday, right? Maybe if I had a full like team of Zeuses, we could probably get that feeling out there, but there's only so much you can do with Arma AI where like if I tell this fire team of PLA to move here and then try to tell them to pull back off of making contact, they're not going to do that. They're AI. They're just going to crawl, kneel, turn sideways and keep engaging and just inevitably try to push through. So there's kind of just that set limitation when it comes to Zeusing. There's not a lot we can do with just the mechanics of the AI and how they respond to contact.
Yeah, I totally kind of figured that was the case. I was just kind of trying to pick you guys' brains about that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I guess I'm gonna go on my second question, or maybe not. I'm gonna rewind a little bit. Is there a chance we can do like a little more harassing attacks? We are fighting in a jungle environment as of right now, this current campaign. I feel like it wouldn't be too super hard to have maybe some harassing ambushes, maybe some along the routes we take. Especially Havoc, we're along a lot of ASRs or MSRs. And I think it'd be a little more interesting to see maybe like an LPOP kind of stationed somewhere on some terrain. And if maybe you don't see that LPOP, the next objective would be slightly more fortified than it would have been if we did like identify the LPOP listening post, observation post. For those uninformed, we would see that maybe if you engaged, destroyed it, it would kind of like lessen the enemy pressure there. I think. How do you, much in the realm of possibility do you think that would be?
It's definitely very possible. It's manageable. I guess the other layer to it, right? Because it's all about layers when it comes to Zeusing, is not everybody who comes to unit operations has the same mindset as like all the other players. So we always got to kind of cater to that lowest denominator of unit membership. Because there's guys who just show up, shoot shit, and they leave, and that's it, right? And that's fine. They come here, they have their good time, they follow the rules and regs. Getting more depth out of certain assets of the unit is tricky because, as we've seen throughout these surveys and for years, there's certain members of the unit who think like the infantry, they don't get enough, to kill. It's like Havoc comes in, they kill everything, destroy everything, so they don't get to have their fun. And then Tuma, they blow up 2 objectives, so the infantry and Havoc don't get to have their fun. It's this kind of balancing act that we constantly have to struggle over that makes it difficult to create like these real dynamic in-depth operations. And we do try to do them every now and then. Like this coming Saturday is a RAD, so it's a rapid aerial deployment operation, where we heavily are going to be utilizing rotary assets to maneuver squads into the enemy AO, hit and run, get back on the birds, hit and run, get back on the birds, and so on, because we've essentially taken down their AA network from the first initial landing on the north side of the main Tanoan Island, right? So it's all again a balancing act, and it's just a difficult thing because if we don't give everybody the opportunity to do something, even if it's static positions and shit like that, people will inevitably complain. But we try to keep it as dynamic as possible. We could definitely see an introduction to like more ambush-based operations and things like that, like we first did in the very beginning of Tanoa when we were here without all of our assets.
And then last question on the ops kind of side of the house. Would it be possible to have a little bit more like maybe an O&D op? Maybe you do offensive, and then as we're pushing over to another objective, they send a heavy, like a decisive engagement at the objective we're currently at, where we then have to dig in and then establish some sort of defense to repel the enemy and then follow on, or maybe patrol op, maybe, or we have half the unit on patrol, they get heavily decisively engaged by the enemy, and then we have to conduct some sort of QRF to go rescue them from that decisive engagement and then push on further. Is there possibly we can maybe see some of that in the future as well?
What I'm hearing is Alamo Mission Part 2.
Oh
Yes,
my god.
kind of like that.
That's basically it. Chang brings up a good point, because it's been about a year since we had an op just like that, where we went and saved other unit members. I think it comes full circle to like membership count. The unit isn't really hurting in terms of like overall membership. I think the issue is coming from like membership in certain areas, basically, like the beginning infantry. If there was more infantry, it'd definitely be an easier scenario to play out. But in this scenario, it more than likely would be like Havoc would come to assist the infantry on a separate AO or separate patrol decisive engagement area, right? It's doable. It's just one of those like sometimes the Zeuses won't know until like the day of op where we're like, ah, damn, we've got 20 infantry, we got 8 mechanized, we got 9 Tuma. Yeah, we got this. We can do this, and 6 corpsmen. We could probably get it done. And it just comes back to like a numbers game. But overall, the unit is wide built. It's not exactly tall, so we need to start correcting that hopefully soon.
Definitely understandable there. All right, kind of moving on to our next little like subject here, or bullet point, whatever you want to call it.
Hold on.
Oh, go ahead.
Real quick. One thing I would also kind of like what Jenny's saying, different thing. I want to do like a Hamburger Hill type of op, like where we're assaulting and it's just like one objective, kind of like how we did that one island the one time. If you know what I'm talking about, Kat.
Remind me.
You mean Snake Island?
Yeah, like Snake Island. Remember how it was like one island, like one little tiny island, but it was like super fortified.
Yeah.
I'm talking like one objective on one of our Tanoa ops, and it's like a hill or something like that. Like, have you seen
get there,
Hamburger
take
Hill?
it, and hold down. Yeah, I've seen it.
Oh yeah, well not even just hold it down, just take it. I mean, yeah, hold it too, but the majority of it should be taking it. I would say, like that should be the difficult part of the op. I think that'd be fun.
We could definitely do it. It's super tricky. Again, everything's tricky when it comes to Zeusing, and it's just the reality is right that Havoc and or really Tuma could just blow the absolute dog shit out of whole AOs. Like there's at least 4 or 5 objectives per op, and maybe like half would be done in like 10 minutes if we just let Tuma loose. Now, thankfully, we have like Staff Sergeant Yogi or JTAX who kind of like really hold him back on that, and sometimes we'll send up fixed wing to harass the air wing. But we could definitely. I'm also writing all this down as we talk here, but I think we can look into something more related to like Hamburger Hill scenarios and just really big, heavily fortified like singular objectives instead of these like numerous objective types.
All right, Chang, you were gonna say?
Yeah, so kind of moving down my next bullet point here. Not really critique, or kind of critique, I guess. One thing I think might it maybe empower some of the more small unit leaders a little bit is taking a bigger approach towards, and it also kind of emulates what we're trying to emulate in this like video game kind of deal. A desegregated command. Like I understand, right? There's a we're, at the end of the day, we're just a bunch of dudes sitting down playing video games, obviously, and having fun is kind of the main purpose. But I think it'd be kind of cool, maybe empower the smaller unit leaders a little bit, if we kind of try to like maybe like as a one op or something. If we tried going to desegregated command where all that's issued from higher is just a task and a purpose, an end state essentially, and then it's up to the squad leads at that point to conduct some sort of like get their heads together, conduct their own planning of whatever they need to accomplish, and then kind of have it trickle down. So even like the smallest unit leader will have input into what goes on in the op. I think that'd be kind of interesting as maybe a little experiment. I know it's a tall order because it requires people to go in after whatever the op's done to like do some planning or whatever. But I think if we could maybe strike a balance between how much load is board or bared across the board, I think that might encourage more people to become NCOs or whatever, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I don't think I'm not going to say it's a bad idea. I like the idea a lot. And I think it comes back to a point that I brought up a little earlier, which is you have the issue of where Arma players who just come here to shoot shit. And there's nothing wrong with that, obviously. That's like, get on, have fun, like you've said. I think the issue is just like setting out that expectation it could be good, but it could also have the opposite effect of like, oh man, I actually have to come and like think and put brain activity into like doing stuff, and I don't want responsibility and none of that, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just one of those like really weird things that gotta have that balance, But we could definitely look at it doing it at least like once, trying it out, letting the squads have at it and handle
Maybe
how they see fit.
Yeah, it's a little like thought experiment, just see if they like it. If they don't, we can always revert back. But I think that'd be a kind of interesting way of kind of bringing in a little more of the junior leadership into kind of into more of a, so they can just learn a higher role than themselves too, and possibly maybe strike some ambition between them,
Mm-hmm.
So, to jump in here real quick, Kev, when we do the leadership meetings and stuff, squad leaders, fire team leads, they're all welcome to have their input, say their input on what they think we should do during the leadership meetings before ops. That's what
Okay.
they're there for, is for them to not only figure out what's going on and make plans, but to say, hey, look, why don't we do it this way? And as also instead, it might be better.
Okay.
I think another point that we don't really talk about because it's not a thing yet. So with the current class, right, between Marcuzzi and Cunningham, the big air quotes OCS class, it's been a long time since the unit has had a dedicated like PL PSG. It's been about 8-9 months now since Mattis retired out. So
Yeah.
there's kind of this weird like, it's not broken because the squad leadership has definitely like been there to pick it up, and there's always been someone who takes over ground commanding. I think the aspects of desegregated command is there. It's just more so understanding it at the lowest level is where I think the lack is coming from. Because when we have these leaders briefs and we give everyone the intel, a lot of the times the ground commanders will be like, all right, this is what we're doing. Instead of, all right, what do y'all think we should do? How do we handle this? You know what I mean? Obviously, we're on a time crunch, but there's nothing good or bad about it. Every leader is different, but I think that aspect kind of plays into what you're talking about, Chang.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at. Because as you know, I'm in Havoc, so I deal a lot with Cunningham or Tuesday, and like, for the most part, no shade at them, obviously, but it's kind of like they kind of formulate the plan. They ask around for inputs here and there, but it seems like they bear that entirety the brunt. Where as in like, I hate to like compare to real life, but it'd be a lot more. Here's my task, purpose, end state. DCs, how are you gonna fucking take this down? And they would put their input there because they know their assets more than obviously the PL, PSG, so on and so forth. So I think it'd be kind of interesting to see that maybe. I know it's kind of hard to do given we're just playing a video game. It's not that deep, I know.
Yeah, and it all comes back to that like balance of Milsim roleplay and fun and all that shit. So I totally understand it. It's no problem.
All right,
But I will pass it along.
All right, kind of go on to my next one. So I'm kind of curious if there would be, given that membership increases when you get full TO everywhere, right? In a perfect world, right?
Yep.
Potential for more fires assets, like i.e. like 60s, maybe an RD battery with us. What would the possibility or potential for that be? Just out of curiosity for myself, because I'm a huge nerd for anything that has to do with indirect fires and whatnot. So.
Yeah, 100%. So IDF has definitely been a thing for a while that's been talked about. The issue that comes up from it a lot is it's a super heavy niche. It's super niche, and it's one of those like Tuma things where like, Tuma, you get bored, you fly around, but hey, at least you're flying and doing something, or you're on net, right? Where, let's say for an entire op, if you're like, you're our 155s or fucking ground pounders, you're sitting there the whole op and you might get a call in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really hard to kind of weigh that. What you got, Dubs?
Huh? Nothing.
Did you see what I said, Command?
It's working for me, Cap.
I had to go beat Serenity really fast. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So
it's working. Okay.
I fixed it. Yeah.
Thank you.
It was
Sorry about
marked
that.
It was marked for. It
I
was
hit
made for kids.
I hit the wrong button.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All good. Yeah, for those who don't know, sorry about that. We didn't know that the chat was disabled for the first couple minutes there, but hey, we're back. But yeah, Chang, like that's it's definitely, and I love how you say perfect world because we've all said it, right? In a perfect world, if we had the numbers of the manpower, I would love to have a dedicated like artillery unit. And that's kind of what the future is for Fortress in Erebus, right? But the workaround of it, right, was, maybe one op. We know there's not going to be any artillery. So Fortress is going to be like dual qualified and heavy weapons and things like that. The weapons squad of the company, and they can go out and be on the lines and maneuver as they see fit with Havoc and separate AOs and do whatever they got to do. And then for another op, like, hey, we're going to be hammering the beachhead. The boys are going to need like clear like IDF support as they maneuver on foot and so on and so forth. Get on those guns. You're going to be on those guns for the op. Or maybe we can infill you halfway through, whatever. That's definitely a concept that has like been thought out and written about. It's just a numbers game.
Yeah, understandable. Definitely, I think one thing to not trying to like, I guess a little suggestion, I guess. One thing that I think Fortress should kind of fill in, maybe like a cat platoon, it's weapons platoon, so it's still organic to a infantry battalion, and all it consists of is they're heavy, so your 50 cals, Mark 19, usually on they're always, if not always on Vics, 81 millimeter mortars, and your tow missilemen, and your sniper kind of stay target sniper guys, right? And so that, I think Fortress could play that. Yeah, I think that'd make sense right there. Like maybe within the role play, right, in air quotes, and also it kind of would distinguish Havoc from Fortress as well, because they'd be in a lot more lighter skinned vehicles, so they couldn't like strong point things like Havoc kind of can do, but they can still provide that support, machine gun fire, and or an 81 millimeter mortar fire if needed, and still kind of be within that line kind of aspect, so they're not entirely just in the rear, just doing fires missions all the time. I think that might be kind of interesting to see as well.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, bringing mortars up to the front lines. I mean, because based on how the company is organized, it would definitely be within the realm of our capability to have like, 81s just out in the field with the element supporting movement and fire. And instead of having to call, arty that's like 15 clicks away, that takes about 70 seconds to travel, you get like, hey, put our boys down, get rounds down range. That gets done in like 20 seconds. So, yeah, it's definitely within the future of the unit as long as we see potential growth.
All right, last question, because I know I'm yapping everybody's ear off right now.
You're good. You're the guest, man.
Last one is going to be like, I'm just kind of curious, right? Because I'm a very big nerd for SMEX and like Call for Fire and all that stuff, right? I'm just curious how you guys run your guys' SMEX. Do you guys follow the full 5-paragraph order to include like Okoa, Kiko, and all that other stuff, or is it a condensed version of it? I'm just
very
curious.
Condensed. Okay. Yeah, so our SMEX are 100% the condensed version. There's no, it's nothing like that. So the thought process came out. We used to, now I will say, in the beginning of the unit, we're very much a like super hardcore like realism styled unit. And now we very much changed away from that aspect of mission making and like understanding in the unit. Just because we didn't, we wanted that balance between the two, and that can be maybe just as tricky as before, but that's a whole other thing. But yeah, the SMEX, I mean, really, it's just your situations, missions, your scheme, command signal, things like that. Very general, broad information, so that way it's like, if you're new coming into the unit, you're not looking at like 10 pages of a SMEAC for one op. You're just like, oh, this is cool. It's like 3 to 5 pages of general info. We've got like civilian entry SOPs, understanding enemy and friendly assets within the, overall context of the operational op order, however the fuck you want to call it. But it's very much a dumbed down version of really everything. They are open to view as well within the units, like direct visual general link and general info. But like if you wanted to run through the SMEACs, you could. They're always posted at least a couple of days or day before op time, so they're just there. That's what we read off of in the briefs anyway. So
okay, yeah, I kind of figured it's a very condensed version, because obviously it's going to be a high barrier to entry if you just write a full-fledged like 5-paragraph order. I was kind of curious in how you guys did it. It's good to know. I didn't know that it was in the general info chat as well, so definitely probably take a peep in there.
Yeah, it's its own. If you go to the 13th Mu like folder, it's its own folder above everything else, just called SMEACs, all caps, and they're all in there from the very first op ever. Everything is recorded.
All right, that kind of concludes my round of questions right there. So yeah, I guess we can move on to the little next survey questions.
Alrighty, Captain Dubs, what do you got for us? What's the first item on the agenda?
Well, Chang knocked off one of those, so we'll just move right along.
Alrighty, look at that. One down.
As soon as he started talking about what he wanted to know, I was like, oh, well, that line in the survey is Chang's. Okay. Let's go with. How were the fire team names chosen?
All right, so long time ago, the unit used to have very much different element names, and I was super heavily influenced by Generation Kill. So like we used to have like Hitman and Baker and I can't even remember what the old one was for Demon. Assassin for Blackjack. Yeah, so it was Assassin, Hitman, and yeah, I'm pretty sure it was
That's the only two call signs I remember from that.
it was either Baker or something, or Charlie or something else for the third squad. But those are the old unit call sign names, and then eventually we switched over to the alphabetical format of like A, B, C, D for the rest of the company, and it came back to one day of just like, hey, we're gonna kind of reorganize, we're gonna reevaluate like the unit, and you know, you as the squads come up with some sort of lettered word that makes sense. So your first squad, your B, because you know alpha or A is Apollo first platoon. So then you have B, C, D inside of first platoon. So then they debated for probably about a week or two on what their squad names would be, and eventually it landed on Blackjack, Comanche. Third squad had probably the longest track record of name changes. It probably went through 4 name changes. It was like Dragon, and then it went to Draconian, and then Drake, and then finally it landed on Demon. But yeah, that's how those were chosen. As for Erebus Platoon, those names came up probably about a year later after the original set of First Platoon. So Second Platoon had their names made. I don't think they've been changed since. Yes, they have, because Havoc used to be Helios, and then that got changed with the new squad leadership that came into that. So yeah, so they'll kind of get a set like scenario, and from there they'll you know, once it grows enough and there's a solid like foundation, we'll let them figure out like, hey, what kind of name do you want it to be, and that's how they came to be.
We have to come up with a fancy name for Tuma.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
Okay.
You already have random ass names for all these different aircraft.
Birds of prey.
We'll just come up with a slogan. What is Command's thoughts on leading possibly untested military science like FPV drones in warfare? And more specifically, would we ever consider developing / testing doctrine on tactics that are considered less than traditional?
I think it's the issue of I made a statement earlier about like the unit is very wide and not very tall. I think this would just add to the problem of becoming further wide. I don't think it would be bad in the future if we were tall enough, right? But like, you've got infantry, and you've got all the squads under infantry, and then you've got Havoc and all the different elements under, you know, Havoc and mechanized in general, followed by Tuma and all of its separations in aviation, such as rotary, fixed wing, drones, transport rotary, and then you've got the medical command, which, you know, has their mission elements and their, you know, mission capabilities, and you know, you're adding all of that, and then you're adding like drones into the mix that's already handled by Tuma, but integrating on the ground level for like combat operations. I think it's feasible. I don't think currently we could handle that at the moment. There just wouldn't be a necessity because we're trying to expand, and that's just another thing for the Zeuses to have to like cater to. At least that's my thoughts on it.
I wouldn't mind flying a drone into PLA guy's face, but I don't.
That
think
would
we
be
got any
funny.
mods for that.
100%.
I don't think we got any mods for that.
They have the Mavic. There's a Mavic mod.
Yep.
Let's see. This one's a funny one. This will be a funny one. What would happen if for any reason a transport helicopter carrying all participating members in an operation were to be shot down or crashed.
Fail.
Fail. Yep.
Fail.
It has happened a long time ago, but it is
The
happened.
the only time we bypassed that, it was the first op of NAMF,
No, it was like the
or
second or
third op.
yeah.
It was like,
So I
yeah, it
was
was probably one of the, yeah, it was one of the first few ops of NAMF. The Warhorse went down with the entire platoon in it, so it was full, like 32 seats or 33 seats, completely full to the gills. Crashed and everyone died. The only reason why we kind of just, did a restart was because the pilot's HOTAS disconnected from his computer and he just lost controls. But yeah, if a transport helicopter full of dudes gets shot down and people start dying, those deaths count.
I will say, at the end of the day, it all comes back to the death count. So if 19 die, you're still good. You just can't let one more person die.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but I think not really, but almost came close to something like that. I think we had 2 warhorses. One had infantry, one had Havoc, and infantry's one landed just fine, but the Havoc one was carrying like an Abrams or something, and they were trying to
on Sereno?
Yeah, it was on Serrano.
It was when
I
it
remember
flipped
that.
into the Warhorse.
Yeah. Or no, it it landed.
Oh,
or, like,
is
it
this
put
the
Abrams on the ground?
and the
couldn't-
Abrams like anchored to the ground and pulled the Warhorse down?
Yeah, I think, and then also they couldn't detach the ropes, and then I think at some point like an AA hit the Warhorse, but it was still able to but it ended up like crashing. I don't remember what happened, but something like that.
I remember that.
It was a bad day. That was a very long
That was a funny day.
for you.
Yeah. That was when 2 Mall became the worst mall.
For one op.
Still in my eyes. In my eyes, you're still the worst mall.
Does it 100 attaboys equals 1 shit
What the
boy or
fuck?
something?
And you harp
What
on
the
the shit
fucks?
one.
Yeah.
Every
Yep.
time.
You could do
Every
99
time.
things right, and you do one thing wrong, and that one thing wrong is the only thing that'll stick out.
That is the
Yep.
equivalent. Yep.
So this one is a response to this response. So one of the questions that was asked on the survey was, do you have any ideas that you may want to see to continue building the unit? So this person's response to that question was, I think we need to diversify a bit. I know this is a Marine unit and I want it to stay that way, but I think that utilizing some sort of soft tactics, not for a whole portion, but things like helo landings on roofs, rappelling, maybe sometimes paradropping, etc., would be good additions. I know that some of you are thinking, no, that's not Marine style, but at the end of the day, it's a game. And if we want to grow the community, build up members, and actually make them stay, having diversifying elements like those, or even some ground-related things, is very appealing, especially for experienced players. It would make things more interesting and fun, and whilst not traditionally used for an MEU, it would be good for gameplay and fun aspects. Do what you think is best, but I truly believe this is a good mindset to have when running a unit.
So
We'll start bottom up. So we'll go with Chang. What do you think, Chang, about that one?
I mean, well, so infantry is a very multifaceted kind of unit or kind of organization in the Marine Corps. Like fast roping is a very, very real thing that even line can do. So we can implement fast roping, boat inserts, AAV inserts. Well, we've done AAV inserts, but boat inserts on LCACs where we do recon for hire, and maybe we, I do the recon. On some, indirect fire through Zeus, and then soften up the landing zone so the rest of us can insert via boat. That's something infantry a MEU would do. And fast roping is 100% something you would do as well. So I think you can facilitate that and still maintain the immersion, so to speak. That's kind of my 2 cents on that.
All right. Ace.
So, I almost feel. I mean, that I don't really know. I don't have any real world experience to pull from whatever, but just from other stuff I've done and just seeing, I feel like we kind of already do stuff. Not SF tactics, but I feel like we do some stuff more than what a normal infantry unit would do anyway. So I don't have too much of an issue with us being like boring or whatever. I don't see that side of it, but I wouldn't mind doing some cooler stuff like that. It's just I do want to stay Marines too, like that person said. I definitely think something we should stick to, and we should stick with what we're doing. But I don't know what I'm trying to say here. But I'll go on to my next thing. After I put out the recruitment help or whatever announcement, I had a member message me about an idea they had to boost recruitment, and it's something we talked about before. It's opening like an SF squad or whatever, and I was just like, yeah, no, we'd probably never do that. But what I was thinking of, and this kind of goes with what the person said about it would make people more interested or get more people to join because it'd be more interesting tactics and op. I was thinking of the idea of maybe making us go to like some tier 2 Marine unit or some shit like that, just Apollo. But I was doing the pros and cons, and I just wouldn't see how it would work at all or anything. I mean, it's probably possible, but it's probably more pain than what it's worth. So,
Yogi.
Yeah. So, for those of you who don't know, I've been around the block a lot. Been in a lot of different units, kind of seeing how different units operate, and some of the units that I've seen. Now, I know the guy in the comment here specifically mentioned not like a whole separate unit, but just for everyone who thinks that opening a separate unit is a good idea, here's kind of the offside of it. Is a lot of units that have these like SF kind of aspects to them, or like detachments or SF squads. What 99% of the time ends up happening is all the best guys in the unit end up going to that squad, and that one I guess tier 1, tier 2 squad of the unit is really, really good, and then the rest of the infantry get whatever's left. And then along with that, you get the separation of all the guys that SF squad think and know they're better than the regular infantry, and you get this inter-unit divide in just the ground, and it's not good for anybody. There's a lot of envy and jealousy and other stuff we really don't want to deal with, but that's that. In terms of landing on roofs, definitely trained on it before. There's probably only a handful of pilots that I really trust doing it. Part of it is we're in the jungle now, so that's kind of off the table for a few months. But fast roping into the tree canopy is something we might do in a pinch. It's the overall thing that the JTACs are concerned about is safety. If it's not safe, or if there's unnecessary risk, we don't do it. Just for the sake of not wasting lives, not wasting airframes, and because we track all that stuff. Dropping it into the canopy is really something we would only do if we knew there was no AA in the area, especially if we're dropping into a hostile area, along with if it puts us in a really good tactically advantageous position on the map, whether it's high ground or we're at a really weird angle for the enemy to actually defend from. It's something I might talk to Cunningham tomorrow about when we set up the actual scheme maneuver for the red operation. But there are definitely things that we do that are more SF. Like we've on North Takistan, we've pulled HVTs off of the rooftops with the Super's hoist. We've try to drop off and pick up squads off of kind of more pinnacle landing style areas like on the edge of docks or buildings. Again, majority of the time it's just safer just to put the bird down somewhere, have the guys walk 100 meters and we're there. But that's mostly it.
White.
So we've actually talked about this several times over the last 2 years. What it comes down to is the logistics of it. Like Yogi said, there's not a whole lot of pilots that we have that could handle that. Like the fast roping and stuff like that. And again, the safety, like you never know what armor's gonna do. You might think that 3 people dropped down, they were good, nothing happened, but then all of a sudden armor might act up and the rest of everybody else that was dropping down dies because of armor related stuff.
Not even like safety in terms of like the enemy. It's safety in terms of Arma. Is it gonna impact the player's experience because fast roping on a specific building made the building fucking Hulk stomp it into the dirt? Like, that's just Arma though.
Yeah, and then of course because of it getting shot down and stuff. So it's just the way our ops are ran and stuff. It's a logistical nightmare. And trying to get the SOPs and stuff for that written, it's difficult because we don't do anything unless we've tested it and have an SOP for it, and we need to have everybody trained on it, so it's just a logistical nightmare all around. I'm not saying that we might not do it in the future, but as of right now, it's just difficult for us to do it.
Can I add another thing?
What you got, Ace?
So kind of go back to the tactics and stuff, not even just like the helicopter stuff. It definitely isn't like an SF maneuver, but just some more advanced kind of like combat stuff. Like I always have thought about like probing, where you like send in a group of people here, pull them out real quick, like they'll get the enemy's attention, then you on another like area they'll come in, and repeat that process or whatever. I just don't know. Like another thing with some of those more like advanced or thought out tactics is like the AI and how they react to that stuff. Because I don't think they're going to be like, oh well, they're gone now. They're going to use their thermal vision and keep on fucking shooting. So I mean, maybe it works. I don't know. I've yet to try it in or not, but that just what I've seen in my experience. I don't think it would work. That type of those sort of more advanced tactics would work on the AI. They're
Soccer
probably
tactics definitely do work
people.
on the AI. They get all fucked up from that.
Oh really?
Yeah.
What you got, Soccer?
Can you hear me fine? All right, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I'd love to do, right? Like, obviously, the harder stuff is the cooler looking stuff, right? What pilot doesn't want to like land on a roof? If you find me one that doesn't, they're lying to you. But at the end of the day, like a lot of people mentioned, it does come down to the logistics of it, and Arma being Arma sometimes. To even implement this, I think it would take at least a month to get everybody trained, just to get everything done in organized fashion. Because if you got guys that don't know how to rappel out of a helicopter, or you're not coordinated enough, it's just gonna something's gonna happen armor wise. But in the future, like, I would love to get to the point where we have enough pilots that can confidently land on roofs and safely do it and do that. That's something we'll have to train on. Something me and Dubs can look at doing during trainings. We'll just have to find some buildings in Dagger or place them down. But that is something that I think would be a good idea. And then obviously we can work on how, like, the proper procedure for fast roping. I think it'd be a useful idea and tactic. Me and Yogi had discussed this previously in an AAR, but with the density of the jungle, there's not always somewhere to land. But then again, you got to be careful. If there's AA and you try and come in and just hover above the tree line, you're gonna get shot down instantly. And then you're better off just walking or driving the extra 500 meters to kilometer rather than losing 9 to 12 guys off rip. But I definitely think it'd be something that's cool and neat to do, and if executed properly can show off the units like advanced coordination and skills to different sections.
Dubs.
My sentiment's the same. You know, plenty of times in the past we've seen soccer do, pinnacle landings on roof edges and whatnot, and if we can get at least all of the transport rotary guys, or people who primarily fly transport rotary, spun up and proficient with that, I'd like to see it more. One thing that always just happens to be you're at the mercy of Arma is paradropping. We've tried paradropping from a C-130, we've tried paradropping from a C-17, like something with parachutes and Arma. Maybe it's just the transition from vehicle to not in vehicle. You always end up like colliding with something, whether that be another person or the plane or whatever. With steerable parachutes, you just always have somebody collides with something, they get hurt or they just die before the time they hit the ground. So that's something that we're always cognizant of. I know the other day we were talking about
Static lines.
Yeah, instead of going steering parachutes, just going static lines, non-steerable parachutes, and just kind of being at the mercy of, speed of the plane, altitude, your drop range, stuff like that.
With that mod, you can use steerables, and I guarantee that'll fix any kind of issue we had with paradropping.
Yeah, we'll have to look into that mod.
Chat, Yogi.
PMs.
Let's see. But yeah, I'd like to see. I think paradropping would be cool. Also fast roping. Like if we're faster, if we have to do like a smash and grab, or kind of try to take the enemy by surprise, I think a fast rope operation would be really cool as well. Just get get a warhorse, or get the rumbler, the fucking Chinook, hovering over a spot, everyone fast rope out, and then the helicopter gets out of there and everyone's off on their way. I think that would be really cool as well. I'd like to see us do some fast roping.
Okay.
Let me jump in here real quick.
Go ahead.
For us to do any of this stuff, we would have to train, like Soccer said, for
like a month.
A month before we would do this. So, like, if and when we decide to do this, we would need people at the Friday trainings. So
That's like pulling teeth.
yeah.
To be completely honest with you, the paradropping, it's all with the race, and it's stupid simple.
Oh yeah, the paradropping mod that we were looking at, yeah.
Yeah, you would have to try to mess it up.
Oh no, I understand that. I'm just saying, like fast roping and all that stuff, we have to train on it before we actually implement it.
Yeah, no, I mean it wouldn't take a month though. It'd be pretty quick.
Night
And
load.
even the guys that don't show up, it's not hard to grasp.
Give them a number when here to go.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot my number.
Yeah,
I
God
forgot
damn
my
it.
number.
Motive.
That's fucking happened.
I was gonna say, Yogi, you forget we got a lot of people in here that can't
Am
count
I
past
too?
3.
I've been in some smooth brain units and they can do it just
Uh,
fine.
Look,
If they can do it, we can do it.
they forget in the real military too. All right, just saying. Yeah, I'm not gonna. I don't have anything else. I think you guys pretty much answered the majority of it. The only other thing that I think plays a big part into the whole of like that aspect of doing things like that. Now, this is a good, but it's also a really bad and annoying thing. We have some impatient motherfucking NCOs in the unit. You want to talk about bringing these kind of scenarios into op? Now, this is a Zeus point of view. You get people who bitch about, oh, we've been sitting here for 30 minutes and it's been 10 minutes because there's a role play scenario going on, or you're waiting for a resupply. Like, I understand, like, no one wants to sit there and pull security for 5 or 10 minutes, and that's cool. But, like, at the end of the day, that's part of the op and the role play. And, you know, I think that stems from a bigger issue, honestly, from the NCO Corps at times. Because, you know, you need to be with your guys, you know, keeping them online, talking to your people, making sure they're focused. Like, obviously you should worry about, hey, what's the ETA on like supplies and stuff, or what's the ETA on this landing, whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, you should not be like fostering and festering the overall concern. Like, to be blunt, like bitching to your guys in the squad about the same thing they're bitching about. You know, like if people are on that, it should just be like hey, just watch your post, watch your sector, do your thing, and don't mind that. Now, obviously, if it's been actually 30 minutes, that's one thing, but people have a really weird perception of time when it comes to Arma 3, and I don't know, maybe they don't have the cohesive ability to like stay attentive for that long, and it's not really something they understand to that complexity. And this isn't me trying to insult anybody, especially in the unit, but I've 100% last stop looked at my phone, and it's been like 10 minutes, and people have been like, we've been here for like 20-30 minutes, which is not the case. So on the Zeus side of things, on the logistics side of things, that's another issue I see from implementing stuff like that. Next.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Also, Shadow. Yes.
Here's a fun one. What is your personal favorite U.S. or foreign military aircraft?
All right, Chang, what you got?
Mine's the Osprey. It kills a lot more people than flies. Yeah, I gotta go down that one. Literally.
That's it. Tuma's implementing the Osprey.
Wait.
There is a new Osprey.
There is a new mod. There is a new Osprey mod that just came out.
Crash every time they go in the sky.
Only the Marine ones for some reason.
Fuck. Ace.
Sexy F-14 Tomcat, baby.
Oh, solid pick.
Kind of basic, but
Yogi?
Yeah, I don't even know. You gotta come back to me.
Okay. Wait.
So, I'm not really a big aircraft guy. That's why I joined the Navy. So, I don't really know a lot of the U.S.
Favorite foreign or U.S. military boat?
aircraft carriers.
Very good.
which one? Model?
Which one?
Super
Huh?
carrier? We're talking like World War II. Talking about one with like the side deck.
I'll do this, Ace. USS Nimitz, CVN 68.
There you go.
There you go.
One, because I was stationed. I did 2 years on there, and that fucking boat is literally a floating fucking city.
What do you think about aircraft carriers with ramps?
They look kind of weird.
Yeah.
They're fucking disgusting. They should get sunk.
There it is.
Looking at you.
There
Russia.
it is. there it is.
yeah.
Soccer.
Oh boy, good old F-16, or if I'm playing DCS, the F-18.
Mine is the first jet that I worked on, the F-15E Strike Eagle. That fucking the JFS on there, man, is just like brings a tear to your eye. Yoshi.
I don't, ground company commander guy here. Going in officers, OCS, fucking infantry. I don't really got one. If I had to think of one, I'd probably have to say the Lockheed SR-71 Blackbird.
Oh,
Just-
okay.
It's just a oldie but a goodie. I don't know. It's just something about it that's just cool as fuck. And the posters for it, like outrunning missiles, that's pretty badass.
Yeah. Oh, I got a missile shot at me? Let me just kick the throttle up a little bit. Alright, back to you, Yogi.
Does that have to be current, or just
No.
Yes. History.
14.
I say it doesn't have to be current. Ace said the
alright,
F-14.
Actually, shit, Yoshi said something older than that. I think.
Yeah, the SR-71 is older than that, too.
either the A10 or the P-51 Mustang.
Ooh, Warbirds.
Both goodies. Both goodies.
If it wasn't one of those, it was the I forgot the actual designation of it, but the British like fucking Mosquito from World War II. It was
Oh, the Mosquito,
It
the
was-
fighter?
It was a it was like a bomber interceptor. It was a weird fighter. It was primarily just paper and wood, and the government hated it
What
because
the
of it.
fuck?
But because it was paper and wood, German radar had a really hard time picking it up, so it would just intercept the shit out of anything the Luftwaffe put up. And they had a really fun time trying to deal with that.
On a random side note, I think I don't remember what it was, but like in the Great Lakes, I don't remember when the U.S. like tried to make like a ice and wood boat or some shit like that. I don't
That's
remember.
interesting.
Shadow
was-
said F-18. Very good.
Yep, F-18.
But yeah, if I had to choose a plane, it'd be probably the B-52 bomber.
Oh, yeah.
It's another goodie.
Very interesting. None of us said the same thing.
Everybody's got different taste. When
Yeah, I
we
like that.
reincarnate, that's what we will be reincarnated as. Good luck, everyone. All right, next.
Hey,
Want to be dead?
Soccer.
Dubs.
Can you rip the B-52 out of SOG Prairie Fire and add it into our mod list?
Get on the next question.
When will
Monkey.
we ever use that?
Possibly.
What is this? This is question 6. We're really good on time, actually.
Yeah, 4, 5, 6, somewhere
If
around
Dumont was to ever get a bomber, I'd much rather either be a B2 or a
there. Oh.
1.
Well, there was a
Don't speak
B2
too
being
soon.
there was a B2 being worked on, but I think it just kind of died. The guy stopped working on it, or at least he just stopped posting update notes about it.
I always found that weird how, I mean, I haven't been in too many units, but I also haven't seen too many, like, things about, heavy bombing in Arma, like, or heavy bomber planes or whatever. Like, I remember there's that, like, one Russian one I remember seeing on NAMP because it fucking crashed, like, maybe...
Oh,
500 meters in front of me.
the Tupolev.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I will be completely honest. I think if you're going to be getting into that aspect of flying, just go play DCS.
Yeah, because it's like...
Just don't bring bombers into Arma 3, dog. There's no fucking
Because
point.
I was one, because like when you get into it, it's kind of like us, where do you find the balance? Because you're bringing in those heavy bombers, they're destroying any objective.
Yeah,
And it's
that
like,
whole
how
AO,
much-
the last 2 AOs, 1 bombing run.
I mean, something you could do, maybe if your like unit is super big and you're able to like simultaneously run like 2 servers, have like a part of the air wing that isn't like ground support, like be escorting bombers. Like you have guys in bombers, they have a target to bomb, and then you have fighters escorting them, and then you have an air battle. That'd be something, but that's like if you have like a really big unit,
I don't know,
and
like
can
15
support all that.
Milsim size.
Yeah, so that's the only way I can see, bombers in Milsim being like a normal thing,
Mhm.
rather than just like one time, one mission, never do it again type of deal.
Yeah. So Shadow's right. You're gonna get us sued, Dubs.
No, no, no. We'll be
I'll
fine.
tell you what though, I would love to see Dub and Soccer in a B1 Lancer flying like 400 feet off the deck, dropping low drag bombs, or high drag bombs.
Oh yeah.
That and if you consider it the aardvark, but I mean that's
Oh,
outdated.
the F-111.
Yeah.
No,
I don't know why I was so.
He's coming across the fucking deck at
Mach fuck.
at God knows how fast. You see him for a total of 9 armor frames, and then you see the entirety of the mile in front of you just blow up.
I always wondered about. I need to look into it later, but I always just wondered how some of these aircraft are still here, but the aardvark's gone. Never know why they got it.
Because the fucking. Actually,
It's
no.
too
I take that
fast?
back. I don't remember why the F-111 went away.
Next
Well,
question.
Next
Going
question.
in circles.
What is something that you can tell us where the unit implemented something in the back end that wasn't really announced?
We'll still do bottom up. Chang somehow.
I
I
have
don't know if you have
no
an
idea.
answer.
I have no idea. I'm gonna have to pass this one.
Yeah, okay. Hey, go on, Ace.
It's a loaded question. I mean, I don't know how specific this person wants us to get and how in depth. Hold on, read the question again.
What is something that you can tell us that was implemented in the back end of the unit where it wasn't really announced?
I think for the most part, we announce a lot of stuff. Maybe not like, hey, this is what changed, this is what happened, but more stuff like, hey, there's been an update to this certain training doc. Now you're gonna have to get recalled or whatever. And the only other stuff I can think of is maybe some S3 stuff with the server side. Not being announced to the public, it's just like, oh hey, yeah, now we got this, and it's like, oh okay. Nothing like public announcement or like just doc stuff that the general public just probably wouldn't care for. It's not worth announcing. I can't think of anything specific. If it's something big, and that it really affects like everyone in the unit, I don't think we're gonna not tell people about it. So yeah, that's it.
Yogi?
There's gotta be like kind of command level stuff, or like anything that like I've done.
I think in relation to the 13th, and either to yourself or command.
So
I
yeah,
think is a
guess
good enough answer.
either or.
All right, too easy. Pretty much the entirety of S6 has been kind of like behind closed doors because no one knows about it. That's mostly it. The entirety of all of our implementation of all of our procedures and SOPs with S6 and Tumaw, like the vast majority of the unit has no idea besides Tumaw.
Wait.
I really can't think of anything. Yeah, I
Soccer?
really can't. I can't think of anything. Damn.
I'd have to say like S3 stuff, like Ace said, like if it's some server side updates or changes that we do server side. But most stuff is usually always announced because if we're changing something, we're trying to help. And if people don't know it's on, they're not going to be able to give us feedback on whatever was done. And like any major changes usually always come with like, hey, we're doing this. What do y'all think? Yes, no. Just to make sure everybody's tracking and aware. But I can't think of anything that's like majorly changed that just was done behind closed doors and nobody was made aware of.
I'm trying to think back to like changes that were made in Tuma.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Hatchet. 'Cause, I mean, the unit just sees the regular, like, nobody, I guarantee a majority of the unit would not be able to tell the difference between a hatchet super and the regular cup super.
Shit, I'm a Zeus and I can't.
All it was a mod change for a majority of people outside of Tumal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, a lot of the times when Tuma changes like airframes and whatnot, even if we don't directly announce it to the unit, they're eventually going to see it. You know, if they're standing by the runway when, you know, a particular jet takes off that we've never used before, and then all of a sudden one's taken off into the air, like, oh shit, we got a new airframe or something like that. I mean, other than that, nothing really immediately comes to mind.
The only thing I can think of now is the formation of EMC. Because we, Cap, myself, and somebody else, we just literally just did it one night.
Yeah. I can't.
So, just so we're not going in circles here, I think it's a very interesting question, and I think it speaks pretty well from how everyone's answered thus far. The unit, and for some people to an annoying degree, the unit is very much all integrating in terms of general knowledge information being passed down or passed up. Whether that's through, you know, element changes, name changes, reorganizations, equipment, gear, assets, losses, intel trainings. You know, the system we have in place works very well, and even though people, you know, they bitch about it, like, oh, another ping, I got another ping. It's like, well, the pings are important, and if they relate to you, then it's probably something you should at least like know in passing, so you're, you know, not coming to a Saturday like, I didn't know there was a mod update, even though we pinged twice to, hey, update your mods, and someone always doesn't fucking do it. But I digress. I think it's a good thing. I think it's good that we have a hard time answering that, because I personally, beyond S2 related things, don't see anything like really like pushed through that isn't told to the unit. Incidences of drama, like, that's all correlated to S2, and they handle all the like behind the scenes stuff, and then anyone's like specific details and informations inside of NJP's JP's, you know, when they're written and submitted out, like that's that closed deal. Unless you're shitbag and you get kicked out of the unit, then it's open forum. But beyond that, it's a good job. I think everyone does a really good job of holding it in. We're gonna start closing it off here tonight. I know it's only been what, an hour 20, but we've
1
gotten
hour
through,
and 7 minutes.
yeah, we've gotten through quite a lot. Soccer, I know you got to head out here shortly. Chang just fucking rapid fire in the intro, which was awesome. We've never had that before, so it's always good to have just that super in-depth like guest review of the command and whatnot, and just like the interest that you had involving certain aspects of the unit. So that's awesome. For these last few minutes here before we all sign out and spin the beautiful little wheel, the crayon wheel of fortune, we're gonna do a kind of back and forth here. Chang, before we send it off, do you have any questions or like anything that you'd want to know on the command level from any member here? You got Tuma, EMC, the SEA, AEA, myself. Like, what questions would you have for anyone here, unless you've pretty much gotten everything you've, you know, wanted out of it?
All right, not to drag this on, but I have one. I'll limit myself to one, right? I don't want to drag this on too much. But I'm kind of curious on how, because I believe it's Staff Sergeant Yogi, right, who does the JTAC.
Yeah.
Yeah. How in depth are your like JTAC procedures? Like CAS 9 line, general 9 lines for casualties, 5 lines, or emergency 5 lines. So I'm just kind of curious, because I'm very passionate. I'm a fucking freaking nerd when it comes down to kind of the fires and indirect assets you can employ. How in depth do you guys get with that?
We try and strike a really, really good balance between simple to grasp, but still having enough proper procedures in place to where we can make it realistic, but not like real life. So where it's simple enough for guys to come in, learn how we do it, and operate effectively, as long as they, are all about it and want to train and get better at it. But it's not like super locked off unless you've like been, a JTAC or a CCT or a TAC-P in the actual military. So our actual 5 lines, it's a modified 5 lines. So we do for the for the nerds, type of control, method of attack. We do ordnance, and then from there it's enemy location, enemy description, friendly location, and then the 5th line is any additional remarks. Attack vector, danger close, anything else needs to be attached to it. So it's not a full 9 line, but it's all the information they would get out of a 9 line just condensed.
Makes sense.
And then along with that, if you really want to nerd out and go read the SOP for JTAX is 42 pages long.
And then one more. Sorry. You guys get to do a lot of CADs, because I love doing CADs. Just curious in that.
What do you mean?
Suppression of enemy aerial defense. It's kind of when you have R155s. CAD. Yeah. So do you guys get a lot of reps at doing those, or?
Every op there's AA. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
It depends on what kind of seed it is. Usually, we're dealing with these. I think they're called DK9s in the mod pack, but they're like, we call them the AIM-9 trailers. We do a trailer with 4 like IR stop missiles on them. They have a max range of like 4 clicks, so they're not too much of a threat. But when they put anything else on the map, it can get interesting.
And then I'm sorry, I'm asking like multiple questions. This is like multifaceted questions. Sorry.
No, you're good, man. Take your time.
Like, I love doing like time on target and all that stuff. Like, you guys get reps doing that too, or you guys do time on target for your artillery rounds that hit the deck, or for your marking for your flare or the smoke. And so, do you guys get to like deconflict that too, or is it kind of a little more simplified than that?
So we do deconfliction with like landings. So where I don't tell them the color smoke I'm throwing. I just say, hey, smoke's popped. Identify color on approach, and they'll identify the color they see. And if it's right, they come in land. If it's not right, they go somewhere else. For time on target for artillery rounds, so all the ROs are responsible for artillery as well as JTACs if needed. And then the Zeus organizes it through Zeus, and then he'll give us a time on target for or a time of flight, really, just for for the rounds. The overall goal is to just make sure we call the rounds in early enough so we're not waiting, just sitting there waiting for them, or we're too close.
Okay. All right, that's all I had. I'm not gonna like get into the weeds of it. I feel like I can talk all day about this, but I know we gotta cut this thing soon at some point, so I'll cut
you're
it
good, dude.
here.
You're good.
You like big documents, right, Chang?
What? Yeah, I do make documents. I like making big documents.
Yogi, send him the 40-page, dude.
I'll send you the 2. I'll send you the 5-line card, and I'll send you the detected SOP. You can read through them.
So with that being said, is there anybody from the command team who has questions for Lance Corporal Chang involving anything that he does, or any curiosities you have on the ground level? Since there is sometimes that disconnect when we're all up here in our little COC chain of command shit. So like, what questions do any of y'all got?
Nothing I can think of at the moment.
Yeah, nothing I can think of.
Why don't you become an NCO?
That's a.
There you go. It's a question.
All right. So why don't I become an NCO?
Because he actually is one.
That, and this is my first armor unit. I'm just kind of feeling it out for a bit, right? I've never played armor before. Cunningham and Mark Hughes
That's not an excuse. That's not an excuse.
are responsible for kind of dragging me in here. I'm just feeling it out, testing the waters a little bit, and also I am gonna like EAS or maybe PCS in the next couple months, so I'll be out of pocket a little bit. So that probably maybe after that I'm a little more secured to where I'm staying and what I'm doing, maybe. But as of right now, it's gonna be too turbulent for where I want to do my career in my life. As of right now, kind of like a maybe more to the right, but as of right now, I have no sign due to.
Chang, I don't want to hear this being your first armor unit as an excuse. This is literally my first armor unit.
Yeah,
This is
dude
my
got
first time
thrown
playing
into
Arma
the
too.
shit.
White joined the unit with 3 hours.
No, it was 20 minutes.
Or, yeah, 20 minutes.
Yeah. You're retired too, though, so I guess there's that separation between it. I guess on my end of things, Chang, I know you said you're kind of filling everything out in terms of like the unit and this is like your first Milsim and stuff. And maybe you've heard it through passing between like Marcuzzi and Cunningham, since that's like your core friend group you came through in. What is your, if you want, right? What's your general perception in terms of what you've heard how other Milsims are run versus what you've seen and experienced here to the 13th?
All right, so me being totally blunt, totally honest. All right, I thought initially, like prior to doing Milsim, I thought the Milsim was kind of cringe, but after being in one, I do definitely enjoy this. I can see why people like it. It's a fun little community, you know. Get once a week or once every month, you at least kind of get together, play with a bunch of dudes. I mean, really help expand my friend group. So I enjoy it. It's a nice little community to have and nice little way to get together and play games with people I wouldn't usually play games with.
And you cannot forget, we are not just males. We have females in the unit.
Oh, guys and gals, yes. Ladies
Guys and
gentlemen,
gals.
excuse me.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, with that being said, anybody else have any other questions for Chang?
Nope.
All right. Let's get to the fucking
I do have one
spin the
question.
frail. Oh, she got White. She got Ensign.
So, Chang, if you could join any other element other than Havoc, what would you do?
Oh.
It would. So
And
it'd
Tomorrow.
have to be something with fires, honestly, because I love it. A little bit about myself. I'm a JFO in real life as well, so I am fully passionate about fires or something to do with like planning process. I'm a huge nerd with planning process, as you can already tell from all the questions I've asked about it. So something to do with either or. So I guess NCO, huh?
I'll be completely honest with you. You would make a great Havoc RO.
You just still be in Havoc.
Yeah.
Or attached to them.
It's still in Havoc. You just have the ability to go for fires.
Yeah, that's what I'd be interested in. Unfortunately, I'm not big into the Corpsman side. Sorry. Ground side, I mean, unfortunately, I don't want to do a job in armor that I already do in real life. So yeah, those are the two things that kind of interest me at the moment.
Fair enough. All right. With that being said, Captain Dubs, bring us over to the spinning crayon.
We are there.
All righty.
You gotta share your screen.
You guys share your screen here, so it's live.
Oh, yeah.
At least live to us. You silly goober. All right, here we go. All right, everybody, take guesses. Chang, who's your first guess?
Rock.
Rock. All right. Didn't we have Rock?
He was picked one time. He couldn't make it.
Ah, that's right. All right, so there you go. You got Rock. All right. Y'all know how this works. Pick your people.
Venom. Actually, is Ray on there?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ray.
Favorites still on there?
Let's go with Banana.
Banana.
Banana, always a good banana. Is Lambert on there? No, he's retired, but
I know his name.
Yeah, he's there.
he's on there. Okay.
He's on there somewhere.
Right above
I have to
Marcuzzi.
bring him back into the fucking server. Yogi, who you got?
Looking through here. I'm gonna go Foon or Bleach.
I'm gonna go Charlie.
Uh,
That'd be a good one.
I'm gonna go with Lemon.
Good old Lemon.
Yeah, I would like to see either Banana or even Boss.
Ooh.
Ooh,
Balls.
true.
Was Boss on once?
He was on one.
He
Long
was
time
on one
ago.
of the first ones, I think.
Yeah, like the third or fourth. All right, spin that Crayola.
Oh!
Oh,
Oh,
Oh!
Icy!
I see. The guy who got
Veebs-
shot in the leg.
Veebs gets teased again.
Damn, that's someone clip this.
Not like he can even make it.
Veebs gets teased again. All right.
All right, are we doing a backup again? or-
Always a backup.
Yeah.
Always a backup. I'm staying the same. Staying the course. I'm sticking to Charlie.
Ray.
He's got to win eventually, right? You don't play the lottery a million times and lose a million times. You win something.
you gotta
If you
gotta
stop
win
playing, you'll
something.
if you don't if you keep on playing, you still have a chance to win. If you stop, you'll never.
You'll never win.
Oh goodness.
Just makes sense.
All right. Let's do it
If you don't play
again.
the game, you can't win.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with banana or boss.
I'm gonna stay the course.
Ray.
Let's see what we get, boys. And gals. Oh,
Lone.
Alone.
Lone.
We got Lone again.
He just went to bed.
He just
Lone,
went
you
to
big
bed.
dick.
Lone, come
up.
back.
What the? Come on.
Get up.
Somebody kill these.
Alrighty. All right.
No, I'm reading.
Captain
what-
Dubs,
Spicy.
make your posts. Lance Corporal Chang, thank you very much for coming out tonight and being a part of our little
Pleasure.
Milsim podcast, man. It was great to have you on here. You had fantastic questions and you gave awesome responses and feedback.
Pleasure.
You got anything left?
Rounds out, rounds complete.
All right, rounds complete. With that being said, thank you all for watching tonight's 13th MU podcast, hosted by your lovely command staff. We are signing off. Rock, kill, eat babies, and don't die.
Like, subscribe, and donate.
Put your marks in.
Recruit your
Put your
friends. we
fucking
need
marks in.
bodies,
Recruit your
recruit
friends.
people. Go out there.